My name is Jacob Peterson, and I'm 48 years old. I am originally from the Kingston group, also known as the Order. And I have a wife, Brandy Peterson, and I got two boys. So my wife, Brandy Peterson, did not come from the Order. I actually met her after I left the Order. So it was kind of over a long period of time, but just religion-wise, there were a lot of questions that kind of went unanswered for a long time that I had, that I grew up with and put them on the back shelf for quite a while. But then there was some conflict in part of my family with Paul and his family, and so it kind of forced myself, and well, it is actually my nephew kind of brought a lot of things to my attention, and he was asking questions um to to kind of teach me, a thing or two. So as I try to answer the questions or dig into it a little deeper and kind of find out that he was actually right. And so about a year before I left, I didn't really believe in the order beliefs anymore. But I didn't know what else to do for quite a while. After my dad passed away, harm was put over our family. And he started to put a lot of restrictions on our family, a lot of, so he, At one point, he finally told me that I needed to try to stay away from the Murray house and stay out of the Bountiful house. And if I wanted to see my mom, then I could see her family stores. And but he didn't want me to be associating with that part of my family out at the Salt Lake City house. So, and at that point, I didn't believe in the order anymore. I didn't believe in the beliefs. So I decided that that was kind of the last straw for me. So I actually wrote down a message to call Hiram when I did, and that way because I kind of knew, I kind of anticipated, and actually he helped me write this letter, and we sat down and kind of anticipated what he might say, and we just kind of had a rebuttal for each thing, and so I called him up, and he said, I said, I asked for Hiram, and they put him on the phone, and told him, I said, well, I have decided that I don't believe in the order anymore, and so I'm leaving, and I just wanted to let you know. And I don't remember exactly. I wish I would have saved the script that I wrote down, but he asked, he says, who is this? And I said, this is Jacob. And he says, Jacob who? And I said, Jacob Peterson. He says, is Jacob Peterson? And he was pretty shocked. And I said, yeah. And then, yeah, I remember him asking me several questions like, well, don't you think we should talk to Paul? And I said, no, I've made up my mind. This is goodbye. And I hung up the phone, and then we went down to Huntington Canyon and talked to several of my siblings and kind of told them, you know, what we were doing. And then, yeah, and then several of them, kind of followed suit. And of course, they had their own questions anyways. And so I think they were already thinking about things. So, but yeah, that was kind of the timeline, or the kind of, what, how, why I left and how I decided to leave. They put Hiram over our family. I think maybe because he was married to my half sister. Um, that might be why they picked him to put over our family. Um, but yeah, basically, so he would have family home evenings, and we would, go to his family home evenings with his family, and then he would have meetings with, me and some of my other siblings. And so, yeah, one of the challenges I had first was kind of finding a job. And then once I, got a job, I had to find a place to live. And so that was kind of tough. But luckily, at the same time, some other people had left, so we kind of went in, kind of got a house together, and we were all living together. We so yeah, we left and not having, any beliefs really, kind of having to start over with all of that and redefining ourselves. That's a that can be a dangerous place to be in too. So, kind of starting out at ground zero, um, really, we kind of partied a lot and did a lot of things that we shouldn't have done, looking back, but it was a good learning experience, I think. So, I don't regret any of it, but I think I would do things different now. What Yeah, I wasn't didn't feel bad for, being like, yeah, having a bad mark in heaven or anything, but I felt bad because I could have been further along, in my goals and stuff had I made a few different choices, but not in everything. I mean, but it was worth it. It was fun, and I did learn a lot from it. So it was a good time. So yeah, I think that was a lot of the challenges, just kind of trying to figure out who I was, and just, yeah, financially just trying to be stable was kind of difficult. But when I started selling fruit, it was because Hiram told me that's what I needed to be doing, and but that is not my personality. My dad was a great salesman, and you know, he just had that personality, and he was the best salesman. But I think I took after my mother's side of the family more so, and I just was not a good fit for me. So what I'm doing today is more of a good fit for me, I believe. So I like it quite a bit more. Currently, I am working at Spirit Aerosystems as a programmer. I love programming, and I love what I do, and I love that I feel like I'm needed, and they treat me really good. They treat their employees really good. Got good benefits. Uh, After I left, and I found I did have some jobs and started my own businesses and stuff, and had a lot of failures, but each time kind of learned from those. And when I got into manufacturing here in Wellington, then I found out that there's people that program the machines that I was running, and found out that they made a good living, and there was a pretty good demand for them. So they paid for my schooling to take the classes, and so I went back to school and got my certificate in CATIA, which is a programming software for machines and stuff. And so I got that and got into programming. After that, it's been a huge blessing, and that's been yeah, it's been probably one of the best career choices that I've made. So some of the goals I've been wanting to invest into real estate. So I guess there's some financial goals that I want to achieve. I haven't invested yet. We've been looking for a while. We just haven't pulled the trigger. It makes it a little nerve wracking, but I think I'd like to be a little bit more financially independent. Well, and what makes me so nervous is that so after I left, I did I went into business for myself with some of my family. Only problem is we didn't have any money to start out with, so we just kind of went into it, pretty hardcore, and just so when the good times were good, we were doing great, but were we didn't have the experience to save a little bit for the hard time. We just didn't anticipate there was going to be any hard times. So then when the hard times came, we didn't save up for it, and so yeah, so I struggled a little bit. Yeah, that was a good learning experience too, and we ended up trusting a couple of the wrong people. We got into business with this guy. Yeah, he took advantage of us. We were very trusting and a little naive, I guess. And so now trying to, go back into business again, I'm a little bit, yeah, it seems like every time I get ready to do it, I'm thinking, well, what if this happens? Now I'm a little bit too cautious, where at first I wasn't cautious enough. Yeah, I just remember the saying. I remember people getting up in church and saying that, being on the outside world is like being in kindergarten, and then being in the order is like being in college. And I just think that's probably the exact opposite in my experience. Like, because in kindergarten, you're kind of told what to do. Everything is kind of structured and planned out for you. But as you get out, into college and stuff, then you're either gonna make it or you're not. It's up to you. And that's kind of how it is. So there's one thing that so it is a little bit scary being out on your own, but it's also, yeah, the blessings are way, way better. Because like say, yeah, you out and you do what you want, and you bring home the everything that you earned, and it's yours and your family's, something that actually means a little bit more. And then when you fail, then yeah, like say you gotta either learn from that, or it'll take you down. Like when I was in school, you know, the incentive to do well at school just wasn't there. Like I didn't I didn't put very much effort into school because I always knew that, you know, wherever they want me to work, I'll go and they'll train me on the job. So school to me wasn't important. And and now, of course, now after I left and have to experience the real world, then yeah, school is actually very important. And so I think my boys, both of them have done really well, and it's because we've kind of told them how important school was. And I think I've been, and Brandy's been probably the main reason. Under her, they've done really well, and they've continued to do really well at school and with sports. And Ryland's in college now. He's getting his 4-year degree in accounting. So and Maverick's still in high school. He's a junior in high school, and he's doing really well. And they're taking life very serious. And they both have Ryland's got a job, and he's supporting himself through college, and Maverick is got a job after high school. He's got a job down at the bowling alley, which is kind of fun. So he's uh he's doing. They're both doing really well, and they both are taking school very seriously. And it's, well, I'd have to say I'm most proud of my family and the boys. Their successes make me feel good about my choices. So they are doing very well. Ryland played baseball, and of course, and got all straight A's through high school. And same with Maverick. Maverick's playing tennis, um, and he's getting all straight A's, and they both did well on their ACTs, and getting Ryland's got several scholarships. Maverick's on the same track, so Maverick excelled. He did really well in math, which thought I was pretty good at math too, but I didn't apply myself, so don't really know where that would have went. But so I think I missed out on some things there. But I'm happy to see them taking full advantage of their, I guess you say, freedom, freedom to choose, for themselves, and they're making really good choices, which makes me really happy. So, and I think you'll find that with most people. I think just have the desire to do well and to make the right choices if you let them. The advice that I might give to anybody that's thinking about leaving, and that's just a huge decision. Just to prepare them that they're now responsible for themselves, basically, and which is awesome. But at the same time, it can be very scary if you leave and you fail, then don't let that discourage you because that's going to happen. You have lots of failures, but like you said earlier, if you can learn from those failures, then eventually you'll, be able to get on top. So you just got to keep going and don't give up on yourself. It's a tough road, but it's worth it. I don't know. One of the more interesting things that I thought was pretty interesting is being able to, define morality for yourself. It's a lot different than how the order, what is actually good and evil. Redefining that was kind of an interesting part of my life. I do kind of figure out so many things, just simple things that I really never thought about before. You don't have to worry about people saying, "Oh, you're questioning your faith. You're doomed to hell." It's like, well, I'm just trying to learn more, you know what I mean? It's not that kind of define your beliefs and uh and what was kind of nice too is to be able to say, okay, well, I believe this about God, or I believe this about humanity, or whatever your beliefs are. It's nice because then if you find a contradiction later, it's okay to go back and say, okay, well, maybe I was wrong. I actually don't believe that exactly. Maybe, you know what I mean? Just kind of an evolving an evolution of your thought process, which I think is ultimately a beautiful thing. So.